Whether it's the regular season or the off-season, we have you covered as we give you the best Tennessee Titans and NFL news and insight that a fan could ask for. You're watching the Titan Upload Network.
Watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. I know some of you are probably watching the World Cup, and it's going to be a really great matchup, U.S., Belgium. So I understand if you're having to simulcast and jump in between shows. I get it. You know, it's hard, especially in the summertime and with the tournament going on. You're preoccupied. But hey, if you're tuning in to watch the show, we appreciate it. So if you got to jump back and forth, we'll be here for all hour and you can rewatch the show. No worries. No judgment on my part. I get it. I will say, we got a great show lined up for you, as always, because it's Monday. We got great content, and it's kind of funny because we had to kind of put this show on the back burner because, especially with everything going on with our good friend CJ2K, it was very just in our mindset to just kind of just put him front and center, especially with the conversation and just the light of the situation going on. So you understand. But regardless of all that, fantastic show for you tonight, this Monday evening. Jumping on, of course, is my partner in crime, a good friend, Tyler Staggs. Tyler, as always, happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you as well, buddy. You know, like you said, had to push this show a week, but matters last week were definitely more deserving of being talked about in the moment when it came up. So we made that audible, but hey, we're still bringing you the show we had planned for last week, just a week later, but nothing wrong with that. Still get it to you. But how are you today, Michael?
Every Monday I get excited because, it's just a new show around the corner for us, just another great topic. I mean, it's like game day for us. Every day we show up, we prepare, we come up with great ideas, especially during the off season, because like we always said, it's our time to shine because it is the easiest thing in the world to talk about games in a regular season. You can throw shade at me or whatever. It's the truth. I mean, it's the easiest thing to talk about when you have content at your fingertips, especially a day away. This is where you separate the men from the boys. And damn it, we do this job so good in the off season, Tyler. And I'm not trying to brag or boast, but I mean, we've been doing this for quite a while.
That we have. And, it, like you said, it's all about, really it's just putting the nose to the grindstone and getting after it. And that's what we do.
So before we jump into the first segment, of course, we like just having a little chitter chatter just to kind of just kick things around, just gauge what's been going on throughout the week, because sometimes we just can't get to everything in all the segments. And, it's nice to just chit chat about, especially just everything that's been going on. So first off, shout out to everybody in the chat. Mom, love you, mean it. Good seeing you as always. And our good buddy from What's Shaking Titans, Gary, it is awesome to see you as well. And I guess we'll go ahead and get this out of the way because I think it's a good talking point because we all been watching just everybody's ice bucket challenges for Chris Johnson, and it's been just really just an explosion, all this. I love that it's just made just a comeback, and the whole vibe's great. Everybody's donating to ALS and awareness of ALS. It's just a really awesome situation that's been going on. So, Tyler, of course, I got to bring up this. Gary put out a video this afternoon, and it appears we have been challenged. So, of course, I knew this was going to come. I knew we were going to be put front and center on this. And, of course, like always, we are going to rise and stand for this challenge. So, obviously, we've got to, do our challenge. But, of course, we're going to make sure we get everybody involved, and of course, not only just challenge everyone else that we put our names on this situation, but we're going to, of course, be men of our word. And basically, it's not only going to be a challenge situation, but a challenge and cast situation. So I myself, of course, I am going to make a donation to the ALS charity that Chris Johnson has put a link into, and I'll definitely put that link in my video once I post it. So we got some work to do this week, Ty.
That we do, and like you said, I'll be doing my part for the challenge, but also donating, and I mean, gotta go with the $28 for 28. So, but yeah, I remember the first time the Ice Bucket Challenge made its rounds. I participated in it, and hey, it's for a good cause, so ready to do it again.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to making sure that ALS gets awareness once again, and that we're able to give funds that can build up for the possible perception of making sure that ALS is still a major problem in this country, and that, of course, that we're raising money for its awareness and, of course, a cure, because it affects so many families, and it's affected someone that we care very deeply about. And of course, all last week's just been an outpouring of love and support and thoughts and prayers and reflections upon what Chris Johnson means, not only to the Tennessee Titans community, but the NFL community in general. And it's just been awesome. You've had just so many greats from the NFL and so many celebrities that have stepped up to that challenge. And I'm very appreciative that we get that opportunity to give back as well for someone that's meant so much to us throughout his career with the Tennessee Titans and so forth with the Cardinals and the Jets. So yes, Gary, we will accept your challenge. Might not be in 24 hours, but I promise we'll get a lot of people involved as well and get that shared out as soon as possible. Would have done it today, but look, it rained on us. So
yeah,
I didn't want to get struck with lightning, especially with the pouring of water on top of me. That just probably wouldn't have been a good video, at least in my sake. I mean, I probably would have get hits, but I would like to be alive to see it.
For me, I actually, as we were starting the show up, I just heard thunder outside, and it looks like it's supposed to be raining just about every day this week. So I'm like, all right, I'm definitely going to get to it and answer the challenge. It might be more towards this weekend, but it's going to happen.
So once again, Gary, we accept your challenge. We will get to that ASAP and make sure that we share it out to especially not only our colleagues, but people we feel that are going to stand and rise to the challenge once we get our opportunity to give back as well. So very excited about that. Very happy that we're going to get the opportunity to help support a cause that means so much to a lot of families, and especially for someone that means so much to us that is going through this as well. So shout out to CJ2K as always and his family. We are standing for this challenge. Well, Tyler, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got a lot of great topics, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially to keep everything on the back burner. The pot's boiling. We need to pull off the lid before it spills over. So are you ready to get going?
I'm ready.
Jumping into the first segment, as always, it's Tyler Staggs with Michael Bishop on the Power Hour tonight. Let's jump into our first segment, as always.
And here's the kick.
So let's go ahead and hit this. I was intrigued, especially with a lot of people trying to find topics throughout the offseason. So, like everybody does, you do a little bit of reading, you do a little bit of just gauging what's going on just within everybody's introspect of how you just get a little bit of time moving, especially in a slow news cycle. As always, you got to find a little bit of creativity. And of course, Bleacher Report definitely does not fail to come up with any kind of just topic, especially to stir the pot. But I'll also give shout out and due as well from our good friends at Titans Wire, because they brought this to light as well. So Bleacher Report put out a list of players that they felt were going to be overpaid and who they felt just were just guys that are really just you know, everybody seems to overpay for people in free agency. And of course, the Titans just tend to find themselves on that list just about every year. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Ty, but it just seems like no matter what we do, we overpaid for somebody.
I mean, like, here's the ultimate thing, Michael. Even we're not going to get away from that stigma because we were 3-14 last year. Yeah, to get people to come here, we have to throw a little bit more money out there. Like, let's just be real. But if those guys help us get back on the right track, is it really an overpay?
I mean, that's where the debate comes in. I mean, of course, especially you look at his line of work, especially just in the last few years. It's a small bit of a sample of work that he's had throughout his career. So, of course, he has a pretty solid year last year, and I expect to be a little pushback, especially for somebody that's going to be paid that type of money to potentially be QB or CB1. So, yeah, there's a little pushback right there. But let me read what they wrote. So, Alontae Taylor possesses the skill to be one of the league's most versatile top cornerbacks. The Tennessee Titans paid him for his potential because he's lacking the recent production and consistency compared to top cover defenders. In 2022 rookie season with the New Orleans Saints, he performed well in pass coverage, allowing a 62.6 passer rating and a 48.5% completion rate while not giving up a touchdown on 66 targets. But since then, he struggled mightily in coverage, surrendering 17 touchdowns, 13 over the last 2 seasons. And in 2024, he allowed a career worst 111 passer rating. So I got to start there, Tyler. I mean, it's kind of just breaking things down from a perspective of, what needs to be completed and what needs to be reevaluated. And I think this is a good starting point. So let's go with that. So looking at that 2024 season, allowing a career worst 111 passer rating, I mean, it's definitely reason for concern.
Yeah, it is. But, Michael, another thing that comes back to, and because here's the thing, we hear players especially, talk about this all the time. It's not just about one player. It's a team effort. And the reason that I throw that out there is because, like, yes, you have your top of the top guys that are going to perform no matter what. But it's and we've seen this happen. It's a lot of give and take with the defensive backs as well as the pass rush. And I feel like that's what I need to see a little bit more of from Bleacher Report in this report that they put out is, yes, in 2024, he allowed a career worst 111 passer rating, but how long was he having to cover at the time? Like, was it something where in the first 3 seconds after the ball was snapped, he was getting torched, or was it, okay, the plays broke down, now you're looking at a 5, 6, 7 second play, and he gets beat? So, a lot of factors there that can be taken in, but you go back to his rookie year where he performed well in pass coverage, as you mentioned. He's shown that he has the ability to be able to cover and, be good in coverage and not give up touchdowns. It's just about getting back to that form. And depending on how this defensive front that Robert Saleh's put together is, that could make Alontae Taylor's job easier on the back end.
Yeah, and that's a good counterpoint. And I think the biggest thing we have to remember is it's definitely an upgrade, especially from what we were dealing with the last couple of years, Tyler. I mean, I understand that stats only tell half of the story, and you can only consistently monitor everything, especially from how things played out in a game. A lot of guys get a lot more pressure, especially if you don't have a lot of help on the defensive front or if you don't have linebacker help as well. So I'm not ruling that out. But I do think, however, especially with that type of money and especially with the type of defense Robert Saleh is planning to install, he's not just going to be just consistently a guy that's basically just locked on to wide receiver one the entire game. I expect him to move around quite frequently. So to me, I think that's a little bit easier to kind of sell from him making that type of money. But also, that's about the same type of money that Trent McDuffie's making.
And that's true, but also, let's say this will be McDuffie's first year away from the Chiefs, correct?
That's right.
So, and I'm just throwing this out there because obviously this comes back to tying into the Titans some. We saw another cornerback that did really well with the Chiefs and then went to another team, and all of a sudden he wasn't really that top dog anymore. And just so happens that guy's back with the Chiefs now. So, and not to take anything away from Trent McDuffie, but he's gone to another good team with a good defensive front in the Rams, especially since adding Myles Garrett. So that's going to help make his job easier. But again, it's one of those things where before saying that Alontae Taylor is an overpay just because he's making the same as Trent McDuffie, who does have a pool on his resume, let's see how McDuffie does on a different team.
Yeah, and like I said, I expect him to be moved around frequently because Robert Saleh is a guy that likes moving his cornerbacks around, especially in those set positions. So he's going to be all over the field, and I expect them, especially on a heavy rotation basis. So I guess the next question I'm going to ask you, Tyler, is with all the things that this defense is going to have to basically learn on the fly, and I expect it to be just one of those situations where there's going to be struggles. I have no doubt about it. But what's your expectations for Alontae Taylor, let's say for the first 4 games of the season? It's a pretty tough stretch, but I think that's a good grading point, especially for somebody that's basically coming into a new system, but I feel is very defensive player friendly.
Yeah, here's the thing. My expectations for him, especially those first 4 weeks, because here's another thing. We know Alontae Taylor, he likes to be he's a physical corner. Like, he wants to get his hands on guys, and honestly, that's my expectations for him over like the first 4 weeks. I want to see him getting up, being physical with the wide receivers, and just, especially with this defense, being where he's supposed to be and, taking care of his assignment. And, like you said, it's a tough stretch at the start of the year. So I don't expect him to be perfect and not give up like any touchdowns or anything like that. But as long as he is a guy that is around the ball and right there, able to make plays, whether it's just a deflection or whatever, that's really what I expect from him.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm definitely excited to see all the sets he's going to be put in as the season progresses. I definitely feel he's been one of the major upgrades in the cornerback room for the last couple of years, and that's even including L'Jarius Sneed. I feel you get the availability. He's going to have an opportunity to really just be a leader in that room, and I really feel that's something that they've just lacked especially just from a corner position, is just somebody that can just take charge and just handle business the way things need to be. And it's not like he's going to be short of having to do everything himself. There's plenty of skill set players, especially on the defensive front, to help elevate his game and really give him an opportunity to make plays. So let me get to this point as well. I do think passer ratings are very much an overrated stat as a cornerback because you can only control so much, especially in just terms of coverage. So I do think while looking at what he's going to be contributing throughout the season, Ty, I'm very intrigued, especially with the way that he's handled himself throughout his career. He definitely had a bounce back year in 2025. But the thing is, everybody wants to see that continuation. So do you think that's something he can continually to gradually build on? Or do you think it's just going to be an up and down situation till he gets comfortable in the system?
I think starting out in the system, you'll probably see a little bit of that up and down, just because even though, like we've seen it, when you get a new coach in, you get a new system in, like you're gonna have hiccups happen, like especially early in the season. Like even though you've got mini camp, you've got OTAs, you've got training camp, all of that, joint practices, preseason football, like it still takes even a little bit more time for everyone to really start clicking on that same page, especially when you get a lot of new players together. So, I expect there to be some hiccups at like the start of the season, but after, the first couple of games, I think you see more of like how he was able to bounce back in 2025. I think you see that become more of a constant after that.
So, of course, I got to finish on the big question that's basically sitting right in front of us. Did you think, especially with this article coming out, with what you now know, especially with the stats, is this still a steal or is it slight of an overpay?
I'm being optimistic about it. It's still a steal for me because I mean Alontae Taylor was a guy, and I've said this before. I wanted him, like I wanted the Titans to draft him when he was coming out of Tennessee, and you can say that that's biased because the Vols are my favorite college team, whatever. But I thought he was a guy that they needed to go get to because I thought he could be a great corner in the league. And now bringing him back to Tennessee, I just love the physicality that he plays with at the corner position. Yes, sometimes that can come back to bite you, but it's still a steal to me.
And look, everybody in the comments, I understand. And I mean, that's fine. We do overpay all the time. And I mean, it's the suck tax. That's basically just what goes around. When you're bad, you got to pay the suck tax to get good quality players in order to get better. And it's not always something that you can just say is a guarantee that works. And of course, as Jason York 3934 said, salary cap and contracts do go up every year. So guys get overpaid at some point. But the thing is, it would be nice and really a great change if the player overplayed their contract. I would really like to see that scenario play out this time around. Not only with just everybody that they've signed, but I especially feel with the narrative that our cornerback room has suffered for the last few years, they've been a liability, Tyler. I mean, let's just be realistic. I haven't really felt confident about our corner room since Logan Ryan and Malcolm Butler went there.
Yeah, and there's been times where I've had higher expectations and thinking that they might bounce back, but then by the time you get midway through the season or towards the end of the season, yeah, I haven't felt comfortable with our corner room since, like you said, going back to Logan Ryan and Malcolm Butler. And I want to have that confidence in them again.
And I'm not asking for him to be all pro. I'm just asking for consistency. Just like it just seems like we have this conversation a lot. Our expectations aren't that high. We just want consistency. So I'm not asking for all pro seasons. I'm not asking for Pro Bowls from these guys. Just consistency's nice. Just give me a guy that can go out there, handle business. And, if that's Taylor and Flott and, Marcus, if he can stay healthy, then fine. I'm cool with that. I'm not asking for these guys to be world beaters. They're learning a system. They're trying to get comfortable with each other. That just doesn't happen. Things don't click like that all the time. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I am saying sometimes it takes just really good situations for these guys to get comfortable within the defense that they're playing, learn how each other works, and all that fun stuff. I'm just asking for consistency. So, of course, we'll finish on this thought because I think it's a good way to finish. So, Tyler, give me your ideal stats for Taylor's 2026 season that makes you feel better about his contract so far.
Ideal stats. Let's see, if he could have, I'm going to go just around 3 interceptions. I'm trying to think of, let me pull this number up right quick because I don't want to, basically put my foot in my mouth here with like passes defended and all that. I know he's going to be playing more outside, but if he could have 3 interceptions, say, and I know he likes to get back for some TFLs. I think between 7 and 10 tackles for loss, and around 12 or so passes defended, I would feel comfortable. Can you hear me? Hello?
Sorry for the uncomfortable silence. That's on me. So basically, I'm sitting there like, wait, no, we're good. Just technical difficulties on my end, so I apologize for that. But I mean, in retrospect, I'm fine with that. That's, to me, that's just a solid minimum that I could just get behind and just feel good about him just going out and just performing. That's all we're asking. Nothing inconsistent, nothing that's going to be just world beating or just mind blowing. I mean, at this point, just vanilla's fine. Not asking for anything crazy with it.
I think 3 interceptions would be like a career high for him. So, if he's able to come out and get a career high in interceptions, like even if it's by 1, that's improvement, and I feel like you can't be mad at that. It means he's getting put in the right positions.
Absolutely. And I mean, to me, growth, that's the important thing. Continual growth. So if we can get that moving, I feel confident that this will be a solid addition to the team, not only for the duration of his contract, but if he stays healthy, that's just the cherry on top. So I kind of feel like I kind of glossed over that point as well. Health is very, very, very important, especially with the cornerback position.
And I forgot to throw that stat out there. 17 games, and 17 regular season games.
Okay, so I'm fine. I was just fine with me. we get a full season out of him without any ding, bangs, booms, or anything else, that's cool. So, regardless of steal or overpay or just any perception that we can give, especially throughout his entire short career, but where he's having a major contract gifted to him, of course, he's going to have to live up to expectations. But I also feel that this Titans defense definitely has the pieces around him to where he's not by himself. I feel you have just a good, I guess the key word's collaboration. I genuinely feel like everybody fits in each role that they're put in. And Alontae Taylor is definitely a guy that they really had to move and get to make this defense even more effective than what it's been in the last few years. So, regardless of however that plays out, I definitely feel that he's going to be a definitely difference maker in a defense that is surrounded by guys that could potentially elevate his gameplay. All right, with that, we are going to jump into break number 1. And when we come back, Vince Young, is he or isn't he a bust? We'll break that down right after this break.
Watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air, live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. It is not Monday without you guys, and of course, you show up and show out with us every week, and we give you the best content we can possibly conjure up and give to you on that week, because that's how we roll at the Titan Upload Network and, of course, here at the Power Hour. So, as always, all the love and a round of applause to you guys for everything that you do for us. And don't forget, if you love the show, help it grow. Follow us on all our social media platforms, wherever you stream the Power Hour or the Titan Upload Network. Follow us at the Titan Upload Network or at the Power Hour 615, wherever you get your content at. And I mean, Tyler, we've been putting out some content for these guys. So if you haven't checked our YouTube page, which I highly encourage you to do, you definitely got a lot of shorts out for them. So it would just be a waste if they didn't go and watch them.
Exactly. Go check out the shorts. They need love too.
Absolutely. I mean, we wouldn't be putting all this effort out if we didn't love you guys. I mean, come on now. So go check that out as soon as the show's over. Or, I mean, if you're bouncing back and forth between the soccer game, I get it. You know, everybody wants to watch their foosball, but I promise you, you're not missing much. Apparently, Belgium just is not happy with the United States, and it's 2-1. So, you know, I saved you some time.
There we go.
So, see, I'm paying attention to, so I'm just helping you out. There's more important things going on here. The game's got like, what, 70 more minutes? I don't know.
I mean, a long time.
It's a long time. So trust me, you're not going to miss much. I mean, there's kicks being made and there's just tempers being flared, but, you know, you're here with us right now, and we appreciate that. Love you guys, mean it. But, of course, talking about tempers, Tyler, there is definitely a heat topic to be discussed, especially when it comes to Vince Young. A lot of people felt that maybe he's potentially a bust. A lot of people feel that maybe there's some unfair advantage right there. I feel let's set it all on the table and break it down in segment number 2, hitting it right now. And yes, to me, Vince Young is very much an enigma to be discussed amongst Titans fans, but also I would say especially any casual NFL fan. So let's start with the basic principle. Vince Young came out of the University of Texas, was a juggernaut throughout his entire career there, especially his final one where he won the national championship against a loaded, and I mean a loaded, USC team in the Rose Bowl. And it turned out to be one of the greatest college football games to some that had ever been played. And then Vince Young decided to take his talents to the NFL, which rightfully he should. And of course, Tyler, I don't think people realize how crazy that the draft was in 2006. You know, Steve McNair basically was being shown the door, and I hate the way that all played out, but that's another story for another day. So the Titans were obviously moving on from that point. But we also had like a slew of guys that were up for that number one spot. Vince Young was one of them. Reggie Bush was one of them. Mario Williams is in the discussion, and I don't think a lot of people bought into that. And that definitely dropped a few jaws when that come to fruition. And even Matt Leinart was in the discussion. So, to my surprise, I especially felt with the USC connections, Jeff Fisher played there. Norm Chow gets a job as the offensive coordinator coming from USC. It seemed like everything was lining up for Matt Leinart to be the pick. And then draft day happens. Not even before the draft starts, Mario Williams gets signed to a record contract for a defensive end, especially when everybody felt that Reggie Bush might be the pick there. Then all hell breaks loose. He falls into the Saints' lap, and then the Tennessee Titans have their turn. And obviously, it's between Young and Leinart, and everybody kind of felt it was a coin toss. Bud Adams loved him because of the Texas ties, and it appears the owner was going to win this argument as Vince Young was the pick, but I couldn't have been more ecstatic for the future for the Titans. Give me your take on all that craziness that went down so long ago.
Like you said, it was it was crazy. And at the time, let's see, 2006, so I guess I'll age myself a little bit. I would have been 13 years old. So I enjoyed yeah.
I'm going to date myself because I'm going to jump in real quick. At 2006, I was just a month away from turning 21.
So there you go. And, at the time, like, I loved watching football. I didn't, now I get into, breaking things down as far as, obviously we do the draft shows and all of that. And, breaking down what players I think would fit better. But at the time, I'm wanting to watch football, wanting to see my team be exciting. And those are the only factors that really came into play for me then. So getting Vince Young, after you said like that national championship game, the game that he had, all of that, I was like, yeah, sign me up for Vince Young. Like, fall into us here at 3. Yeah, give me Vince Young. Matt Leinart, no, I'm good. Give me the guy from Texas.
So already it was a marriage of inconvenience at this point. Jeff Fisher, I just felt, was basically stuck with him and was going to have to like develop him the way they were going to develop Matt Leinart heading into the NFL. But however, despite it all, when Vince Young got his opportunity to go out on that stage in 2006, it wasn't a spectacular season in terms of numbers. But my God, Tyler, he was electric at times.
That he was. And, like you said, it's not like numbers wise, it was just crazy, but you used the great word there. He electric, and I mean just playmaker.
Well, I mean, take into consideration, he's learning the system. He basically played about 15 games in 2006, and the numbers just don't jump out at you. They're nothing spectacular in terms of a quarterback passing rating. 51.5%. He threw for about almost 2,200 yards. He was averaging about 6.2 yards a pass, and it was a 12 touchdown, 13 interception kind of season. with a 66.7 rating. So let's get to where people really got excited about him. 83 attempts, 552 yards, a 39-yard touchdown was his longest, and of course, 7 touchdowns. So pretty solid numbers there, Ty. I would have to say, especially given the situation that he came into, seems like that's pretty solid numbers for a guy that got thrown into a situation of a major rebuild for a team.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. You look at it, not just eye-popping stats in the past game, but then when you throw it all together of throwing in the 552 rush yards, 7 touchdowns on the ground, like that's where you really see all of his game come together. And like you said, it's not a bad season for the situation he come into. I mean, enough to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
And a Pro Bowl. So undersold it a little bit, but I guess you jumped on the point I was going to make next. But I'm glad we're on the same page right there. So obviously, a lot of electric things for Vince Young, a lot of intrigue, a lot of interest. So after that, you kind of think that he's going to make that next jump. So in 2007, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. His passer percentage definitely increased, but only 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions, Ty. I mean, this was a far cry from the guy that we saw in a situation that this team was going for in the long run of things, but still a playoff team, if you can believe that.
Yeah, which is, a little crazy to say when, your quarterback only throws for 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. I mean, almost 2 interceptions for every touchdown, but still able to be a playoff team. And I mean, you take your wins where you can get them. No pun intended.
But here's where things start falling apart. And before we even get to that, I'm going to touch on something that I think needs to be discussed very, very much. How many fumbles do you think he had in that last 2-year span before 2008?
Before 2008, wasn't it like over 20?
22. 22 fumbles, and he lost 6 of them. So, yeah, a major problem right there. And then we get to 2008, and all hell just breaks loose, especially for everything that seems to be kind of lining up for the Titans. Arguably, the defense was playing at a really solid level the last couple of years. And then you add a few pieces in free agency, and we bring in, of course, CJ2K, which he wasn't even 2K yet. He was just Chris Johnson.
Right.
But so much potential, so much optimism. Vince Young, this is going to be the year he handles it. Tyler, what happened?
Man. I think as far as for Vince Young that season, I feel like I kind of blocked that season out. Like if you want the honest truth. But let's see. I think if I'm looking at it here, so started 1 game, played in 3, but just like I said, I'm blanking right now because I really feel like I blocked that season out as far as for Vince Young in my memory.
that you did. And I believe, I mean, wasn't that the locker room incident? I
I,
think that got him benched.
I'm wanting to say so. I believe that's right.
So Kerry Collins takes over the whole way. And it was a great marriage at that point. You know, Kerry was handling business. This was a running team once again. So Chris Johnson was handling business. Everything was falling into place. Damn you, Ravens, for killing that vibe. I'll never forgive you for that. That upsets me even more than the 2021 divisional loss. I will say that with my chest puffed out because I felt that that team could have won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, let's hit the let's hit the nail on the head and address the elephant in the room because I think that's what needs to be started, especially having this discussion. Vince Young and Jeff Fisher was just a bad marriage. It was always a bad marriage from the start to the beginning. It just never meshed because it was just two men with two different ideas. And it was frustrating, especially since we saw the talent that Vince Young had and the ability that he could play, but it's like they're trying to stick a round peg in a square hole. So let's hit this. Do I think Vince Young's a bust? I would have to say no in terms of what he was able to accomplish, especially early on in his career. I do think, however, poor development and I think just a bad marriage of just the coaching staff and the player was a big reason of why he failed.
And I back that because when I think of Vince Young, I don't think of a bust. Like there's other players you throw out there where I'm like, yeah, that guy, I see that as being a bust. But and not that making a Pro Bowl in your rookie year and winning Offensive Rookie of the Year keeps you from being a bust. But then, you get to the 2009 season, he's able to come back and make another Pro Bowl. He wins comeback, or he finishes third, I think, in comeback player of the year. So, like, if to me, if you're a bust, you're not getting back to that point. Like, when I hear bust, I think of at no point did you pan out or really show anything in your career for where you were taken at.
To me, it comes down to a lot of things. And you look at just coaching staff, you look at development, and to me, that's just Vince Young's story. Yes, he was drafted at a very high pick. I can see why there's some that would consider that a bust. But I also consider the fact when he was able to make plays with his feet and when he was able to have an opportunity to find a place to where he could be comfortable playing quarterback, he was pretty good. Now, am I going to say that he could have potentially been one of the greats if he was really put in a situation to where he could just flourish a little better and use his skill set to his advantage? I don't think that's out of the question, but I definitely feel that it would have had to have been a solid coaching staff around him in order to utilize that kind of skill set. Because, I mean, let's be honest, this is a dude that went to Philadelphia and was basically claiming that they were going to have the dream team of everything. And that just turned out just about the way you thought it would, Ty.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I guess the best way to end this is just as simply as this. I don't see him as a bust, but I can see the argument for it. Because of course his numbers for the situation that he was put in and the expectations that you put on him as a top 5 pick, they're high and they should be high. But I don't think that you can just tell the whole story, especially with not not without putting in the key elements of why he failed. It wasn't just him. There were things he could have been doing better. There's things and decisions he could have been executing better. But I also feel when your coach and your owner are basically just not on the same wavelength, then the whole thing just wasn't able to succeed in the first place.
Yeah. And, I want to put this out there too. It's saying all this too. It's not to make excuses for him in that aspect or anything like that, because obviously he also has to do his part.
Absolutely.
And, it can't just all fall on, oh, well, the coach and the owner, they weren't on the same page there with who they were needing to take, and Young kind of got dumped on him. So, that's just part of the situation. But Vince Young still had to do his part, do the work that he needed to do. And like you said, even though I don't see him as like a bust, and I think it's fair to have the discussion.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that there's no discussion there. It's about just perspective. I've always felt it's easier to label somebody a bust than to go back and actually look why they were considered a bust. And I think there definitely has to be one major element into it for them to be considered a major bust. To me, Jamarcus Russell is the biggest bust in NFL history because he had no desire to put in the work to be successful.
Exactly.
That to me is a key component. Guys that get hurt all the time, that's a different element. You can't control your body. If you get hurt, especially if you try in different things, some guys should just beat up, and it's just part of the NFL. So I've always had a hard time just labeling guys that are consistently hurt busts because that's out of their hand.
Isaiah Wilson is a bust because
absolutely
he didn't want to put in the work. It had nothing to do with injuries, anything like that. He just didn't want to work. So
in terms of just what Vince Young brought to the table with the Tennessee Titans, it was just, there was so much potential there, and it was just not enough people willing to put aside ego and just the benefit of just trying to get the best out of this young man and helping him along his football journey. It's just one of the many sad stories we've seen in the NFL where a guy has so much potential and he failed because nobody wanted to be on the right side. Somebody wanted to be right, but it wasn't the right people that wanted to be right, if that makes sense. So to close that out, for me, Vince Young, he definitely has a place in Titans lore. I definitely feel that there's highlights there that people continue to talk about, and I think that his short reign, especially when he had the opportunity to show what kind of player he could be, was damn near electric when he could really have an opportunity. But I genuinely feel, especially, it's just a sad situation of injury, a sad situation of just bad decision-making and just poor acceptance on certain people's parts in higher positions. But I won't call him a bust. He was serviceable. I just wish he could have been more permanent.
Agreed.
That's just my only hang up. So with that being said, we are going to take our final break. And when we come back, we love you. We mean it. But it's time to get you the hell out of here because I guess you got to watch that soccer game. And I promise you, you're not missing anything. It's just about what you think it is. It's at halftime. Belgium's up 2-1. So you're welcome. So you got nothing to miss. So quick break. We're right back at it.
beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul, good karma is a must. Still my.
You're watching the Power Hour with your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs.
The Power Hour is on the air. Live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. I'm your host, Michael Bishop, and as always, thank you for joining us on this fine Monday evening. Guys, you showed up, you showed out for us once again, and it is not because we put out good content. We can't do that unless you show up for us to do it. So, as always, round of applause for you guys for showing up once again. But make this Monday the best because you guys put in a lot of love for us, and we appreciate it at the Titan Upload Network and, of course, at the Power Hour 615. So don't forget, sharing is caring. Make sure you share the show out to all your Titans friends or NFL fans in general, because we serve everybody here at the Titan Upload Network 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours if we could, but I guess we'll just give you the hour that we got right now. But, you know, if we had a bigger budget, I guess we could do that, Sunu. Shout out to anybody that's trying to throw something our way, you know, beverage, shaving cream, soap, you know, I guess ball wash if we want to like get into that. But I mean, you know, I don't make those decisions. I'm just kind of throwing ideas out there. So with that being said, we love you. We mean it. It's time to get you out of here and back into the real world and watch the soccer game, I guess. But, you know, I understand. No judgment on my part. So hit the damn theme music.
Closing time.
Good night, losers.
So, Tyler, obviously, you and I are definitely big video game connoisseurs. And I would have to say the Grand Theft Auto 6 is probably going to be the biggest release for a video game in maybe the last 13 years.
Well, that's just because we've had to wait for it for 13 years.
Well, let's not jinx anything because, honestly, we'll probably have to wait another 13 because we're probably going to be at that point because I'm not going to say anything until the thing gets released. But I mean, let's just put it this way. Does it kind of feel like that we're building this thing up too high? Our expectations just really at this point? Are we setting ourselves up for disappointment? Because I kind of get that vibe. And I really want this game to be good. And honestly, make sure that the kids that are playing this game are at the right age to be playing this game. I'm not going to have that discussion with you. Your parents, do your job.
Right. And, you know, I think you are on to something there. Like this is a different feel from, like, just take the college football game, for example. You know, we had that drought of not having it. They stopped making it, and then it finally came back. And while, yes, people had expectations for it, it was one of those things where it's not like they were working on it from the time the previous one had come out until they released it. Like, you know, it's whereas Grand Theft Auto 6, I feel like it's been supposed to release now for what, at least 3 or 4 years, and then it's like, well, it's actually going to be, you know, we're pushing it back. We're pushing it back. So to me, it keeps building up that expectation of what we should be getting, and it sets you up. It gets you on that mountaintop almost, and you're like, man, this should be it. When it finally releases, here's what it should be, just for a potential avalanche to happen and everything come crashing down.
And let me add this, because I feel this is definitely something that needs to be addressed. Stop putting paywalls on things. I don't want to have to pay an extra $30 to unlock a certain area that I could have gotten in the older games. I mean, for God's sakes, you guys made You made your money back. This game cost $2 billion. You made $3. You literally made $3 billion on just pre-sales. What the hell do you need another $30 for me to unlock an area that I probably could have gotten on in the last 2? That's just greedy, man. Come on. Mm-hmm. And let me just add just in the period to this whole sentence. Obviously, PlayStation's moving away from physical copies of games. And look, I know we're in a digital world. I know it marches on. Progress always goes that way. But that's just the thing. Now gamers just aren't going to be able to say they own the game because PlayStation can move off that or delete it consistently if they want. You can have a case apparently with a code. I guess that's about the best you're going to get.
Man.
And look, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to tell you right now. It's just a consistent way of people trying to make money. And I'm all for capitalism, but damn it, I don't want to be the victim and like just for somebody to nickel and dime me a few more ways. They got me feeling the way, Ty. I'm going to sit here and start talking about the old days. It's like I didn't have to pay for a damn thing. I own the game.
Exactly. And man, see, here's the thing. I didn't even know that. Like the last time I bought a game, you could still actually get like the disc. And so I didn't even know that that PlayStation was going to where it was just like digital and you could have the case with the code. Like, no, I want my damn disc too. Like, I want to have it.
I mean, as I said, I get it. Digital world. Marching on to progress, I guess. But I mean, for people that like to have physical copies of the game, you get the case, I guess. Cool. I mean, it's like they put effort into it. Rockstar really put a lot of heart and soul into it. This just feels like a cash grab.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for people that have been waiting for over a decade for this to drop. And I mean, Rockstar puts out quality games. I'm not going to lie. They're probably some of the best games that get put out on console because people like realism. People like just kind of having just a way to just break free from reality. And I get it. But man, I just get the sense that this might be the one that disappoints us. And I don't want it to be that way. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, it's like I said, I feel like you get too much build up sometimes. And when you have that, it's hard to hit the expectations that people are going to want from it.
But I mean, let's be honest. Everybody's finding fault throughout the whole thing. I mean, there's just something somebody's going to gripe about. I'm not trying to gripe about it. I'm excited about it. I mean, I plan on playing it. I just don't want to get my expectations built up for the last decade like everybody else and be let down with it. And that's just an easy sentiment for everybody coming through it. I mean, that much effort and technology that you're putting it into. I mean, we don't want to get to the point where we're like playing Madden and it's the same game with nothing new and nothing creative. It's just rehashed.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just my take. I mean, just don't drop the ball, Rockstar. I mean, you're already pulling money out of people's pockets and you're like shorting them on a CD, but I mean, you all do you. But the internet's forever, especially when things suck. And people will be very quick to let you know when something sucks.
Exactly.
And I mean, before I even finish this out, just one thing that definitely bothers me. I am fine with a 2-player mode. And if the woman's the hero in the story, okay, fine. I'm cool with that. Did y'all have a problem when you were playing Tomb Raider? It's a Bonnie and Clyde story. I'm getting that vibe from it. Seems pretty badass to me. So if you got an issue with that, shut the hell up, get out of here. You're not going to be on this show, and I don't want you on here if that's the case. But hey, I'm going to be playing the damn thing anyway, so I just don't want to be let down.
Right.
Honestly, online mode's definitely going to be the one thing people are going to be probably worried about the most. So hopefully that lives up to expectations too. But I'll tell you what always lives up to expectations. You guys, when you show up and show out for us on the show. So once again, thank you once again for watching the Power Hour tonight with, of course, your hosts, Michael Bishop and Tyler Staggs. Round of applause for you guys before we get out of here. And of course, Tyler, we're going to be putting out more shorts for the rest of the week, so please hit our YouTube page up. If you haven't subscribed to it as well, do what I just said. Easy instructions. So for that, I understand, especially for you guys continuing to show up and show out for us. It means so much to us that we can continue to give you great content week in and week out, because we will do that for you every chance we can, right until we get up to real football talk, which that is what we are just drooling over for, and we'll be getting to very, very soon. So Tyler, final thought before we get out of here, and I'm pointing at the wrong direction, so final thought before we get out of here, so go for it.
Michael, final thought's going to be, at some point this week, me and you have a cold awakening coming, but it's worth it.
I will gladly do that, especially for the situation that we'll be put in. So keep an eye out for us to put out our videos, and we're very excited to be doing that for you. So once again, shout out to everybody for showing up and showing out as well on the show. So we'll be back next Monday. Hopefully it'll be a good story to tell. So we'll have a great show in store for you once again. So for Tyler Staggs, of course, I'm Michael Bishop of the Power Hour. And as always, take care and tighten up.
Tighten up.
You're watching the Titan Upload